When we were driving here, Brother Majid said that many of brothers here, they go to with Tablighi Jamaat. And I remember in my medical school times, I was very regular in Tablighi Jamaat as well. I went for 40 days and 60 days. And the first lesson they used to teach was that whenever there is a talk, please come closer. So I will request you to please come closer. Those which are there on the sides, please come closer. Jazakallah khair. Now before I start, I must express that how happy I am here. This is a kind of a very ritualistic sentence which speakers they utter before start their speech. But I'm really very humbled, very happy to come here. Because when Brother Naveed was just taking me around to show me the school and the facilities, I was becoming very sad in my heart because I come to a country which is supposed to be an Islamic country. But masjids there in my country at least is just a part-time playing place and nothing more than that. And once a prayer is off, we just lock it. And not only we lock that physical facility, we also lock our iman inside. And when we go out, we don't take Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with us, and we don't take that iman with us in our shops, in our businesses, in our schools, and in our homes. But here, which, so-called is kafir mulk, but you brothers are, mashallah, and sisters, I'm sure, and the whole team, Brother Naveed showed me all that. You're doing a remarkable job. And I'm very sure that if someone is living in the neighborhood of this mosque, and he has come from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, other country, and he is worried that he's living in a Western society, I think if they are living close to this mosque, their children are more safe than when they are in Pakistan or other countries. So may Allah accept your effort. May Allah give you ajr for that, not only in this dunya, but hereafter. And I'll also be, not fulfilling my duty if I don't thank my dear brother, Mujib Qazi Sahab, because he is also involved in North Texas Islamic Council. And I learned that this organization is connecting all the mosques together. So this coordinated work actually is very, very essential to unite our brothers and to solve their problems related to grooming. And he has also asked me, and we discussed that how we can use his network to coordinate with other brothers and sisters throughout United States of America. So anyway, the 30 minutes have been given to me, and I have already consumed 4 minutes out of those. And I'll try my best that I will not talk about the theoretical concepts about emotional intelligence, that what is the definition, what are the theories. My objective will be that at the end of this 30 minutes talk, we have at least some take-home messages. And when we go home, we have some skills in our bag which we can apply straight away. See, we humans, unfortunately, consider us as physical beings. This is because apart from our species, rest of the species are predominantly physical beings. And since ever we are living with them, and we also consider ourselves as physical beings. And then when we open our eyes in our family, in our home, our value system, except of those who have really understood it, is such that the most important thing in our life and the most predominant value in our life is money or the things which can be bought with the money. See, if you have got 4 children, one of them is a doctor, another one is an engineer, other one has a blooming business, and fourth one, though, is very pious, is very simple, very humble, very honest, very dedicated, but he's not earning enough. So we always think that the other 3 are successful and this one is not successful. And there's a reason to believe it, because in our whole system, in our neurons, it has been for centuries, it has been infused that the one which has more money, one which has got more, objects which money can buy, if someone possesses, most of them, he's a successful person. I'm not against money. I'm not saying we should not earn it. We must earn it. All of you must be billions, inshallah, so that we can use it as a mean to achieve a purpose. But our problem is that we make money as a purpose. For example, if you have to cross a river and you don't have anything to cross a river, so you just go to a jungle, you cut some trees, and then you learn how to make a boat. Now this is something very precious for you, because this was the only thing you can cross a river with. When you cross the river, you just take that boat and put it on your head, because it was very precious thing. You worked very hard on that boat, and then you keep that boat on your head all the time. Now this boat was just a mean to cross the river. This was not an objective. So what I want to say is that money and the things which money can buy, they are very important, but they are just means. But having a money is not a question. Question is, what are you going to do with this money? And if we earn money so that we earn more money, for that we earn more money so that we can earn more money, because of that we earn more money, then this is that vicious cycle which will just keep us revolving around the physicality. And no matter how accurate, how meticulous our physicality is, at the most we are at animal levels. And that too are very few. Because animals' physicality is perfect. No son of a horse, baby horse, is involved in drugs. He does not do any unethical activity. He has no problem as far as his financial things are concerned. Animals, they raise their children and they pass it on to the next generation with perfection. They don't need vaccines. They don't need to build houses. They don't need expensive clothes or the cars, right? So even if we do it for our physicality, we satisfy our physicality to perfection, even then at the most we are at the animal levels. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us other aspects of our being, and since we don't bother about those aspects of being, this is why our life is deficient. This is why we have everything but still we feel emptiness inside. This is why anxiety is our problem, depression is our problem, addiction is our problem, conflicts are a problem, unsatisfaction, jealousy, Kina, bughz, adawat, choot, chughli, these are our problems. Because we just consider ourselves as physical being. Now, physicality is at the most 25% of our being. The other 25% is our intellect. And about intellect also, we have got misunderstanding. We think intellect means more filling up of memory. Like a child who scores 7 stars in all subjects, we think is more intelligent. A person who knows everything which Google knows is more important, more intelligent. But that is also a misunderstanding. That is just a memory. Intelligence means whether someone is equipped with the skills and knowledge to solve the problem or not. If we can solve a problem, even if we have got very little capacity in our memory, we are an intelligent person. So this is, and the third 1/4 of our being is emotionality. And emotionality is related to our relation with so many phenomena. Relation with ourselves, relation with our dear ones, relation with those who are distant to us, relation with the whole universe. That deals with emotionality. And the fourth part of us is spirituality. Time is so short that I will just skip spirituality part of it, and this topic is given to me for Thursday's talk, inshallah, in that masjid, Plano Masjid, inshallah. But I would like to just, I have talked enough about physicality. Spirituality I'm going to skip, but the in between these two, which is intellect and emotionality, I'll just try to attach these two together. Because the topic is emotional intelligence. Now what we understand by emotional intelligence is that whenever we have to perform any of the activity or we have to develop any idea, it starts with a thought. So when I entered in this room, suddenly I had a thought, and that thought was very pleasant. I saw that gym, I saw that basketball, ground, and then upstairs, and the way Brother Naveed greeted me and other friends sitting there. So I had a thought, which was a very, very positive and pleasant thought. It can be other way around. You go in an environment which is a hostile environment, which is not acceptable. So you have a thought. Now, every thought, if you consider thought as an object, every object has a shadow. Thought, if you consider it as an object, the shadow of it is called emotion. Emotions as such is nothing. They are not the real things. They are consequences of thoughts. If your thought is tall, the shadow will be tall. If the object is short, the shadow will be short. So if you want someone that he should not be angry, you cannot treat the consequence. Anger is a consequence. If you ask somebody, don't get happy, you cannot force someone not to get happy. The only way is that you have to work on the thought. If thought is of happiness, the emotions has to be of happiness. If thought is of, a negative thought, then the emotion will be negative, right? Now, if there is a negative thought and a person is not trained to handle it, that will result an emotion which will be negative. And if a person is trained, he can handle that emotion. But if he is not trained, he will charge that emotion. And charged negative emotion is actually called anger. And all the negative thoughts ultimately end up with the master problem, which is anger. Like fear ends up to anger. I'm sitting in my home and my son went to, for example, in his college, he's supposed to come back at 8 o'clock. He has not come. I'll ask from my wife, why he has not come? So no problem, he'll come. There will be some traffic jam over there. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and he's not there back. And suddenly I just called to his colleague. He said, he didn't come to college today. I'm worried. It's 11 o'clock. I just, scaredly, I just called to an emergency. Do you have any young man coming over here? Then I'm just moving here and there and looking for my son. See, so what is the feeling? I'm afraid. I'm worried because I love my son. And suddenly someone knocks at the door and my son comes. And what I do? Where have you been? I start, bashing on him. Although I was in love with him, I was worried. But the extreme of that thought will convert into anger. So jealousy converts into an anger. Frustration converts into an anger. Anxiety converts. So anger is the extreme thought, right? Now, so time is short. How we can control it? So I'm going to give you I know there will be, I will not be able to make a justice with the topic, but I will try my best to squeeze it in such a way that there is at least some meanings out of it. See, a person will be called emotionally intelligent if he can observe his thoughts. Normally, when our thought process is going on, we don't observe it. It is subconsciously our thought process is going on. But a person who can actually observe his thoughts and as a result can observe and appreciate the emotions attached with that is 50% emotionally intelligent person. I am worried about my son. This thought is coming in my head. Because of that, I am afraid. I am little furious. I am little disappointed. And I am little angry. If I can just verbalize it and can understand it, and like a neutral person can visualize myself having this thing going on in my head, I'm 50% emotionally intelligent. And to complete it, if I can understand what is the thought of Brother Naveed and what are the emotions as a result of that, then I am 90% emotionally intelligent. And if I can understand the interaction between his emotions and my emotions in this situation, I'm 100% emotionally intelligent. Now, if you just reflect back, problems with our spouses, problem with our children, problem at our workplace, problems in the market, problem at the society level, problems at the international level are actually problems of lack of emotional intelligence. A head of state says something, just a tweet. And suddenly all the army just lines up and starts killing people, innocent people. This is just, it's the height of emotional intelligence, right? So I would like to repeat what I said. Thought is the center part of our brain activity. Shadow of each thought is emotion. And emotions are consequences. Whatever will be our thought, our emotions will be according to that. And whenever there is an interaction, whenever the two people are interacting, or someone is interacting with an idea, someone is interacting with a situation, sometime is interacting with a spatial thing, something in the environment, as a result, a person has got an emotional condition. And if he's interacting with an idea or a person, then the other person also have an emotional milieu, emotional environment. And how they interact with each other will end up in the outcome. Outcome is not dependent upon the incidents. It depends upon how I react with it, right? And now how to control it. There are 3 take-home messages. Number 1, just imagine a situation which is emotionally unacceptable for you. Example, your son did not perform well in the exam and you asked from him that what's wrong with you? I just came to know that you are bunking with the class and your behavior with the teachers is not good, for example said. And he started shouting at you. And he says that, okay, Baba, I don't want to live in home. I want to just leave the home. I'm just giving you an example. Or at the workplace, you have got any situation which can emotionally charge you. The first thing which we have to train ourselves, the first take-home message is, never hold the words. Try to understand the feeling of a person. When your son is saying, I don't want to live in this home, I hate you, Baba. Actually, this is a problem with the dictionary. It is the vocabulary problem. What he wants to say is, Baba, you humiliated me in front of my younger brothers and sisters. And in front of my other friends, you shouted at me. I felt ashamed. I felt small. I felt humiliated. You should not have done it. Now imagine if your son is saying this to you, what will be your reaction? Your reaction will be of sympathy and empathy, and you will try to clarify yourself. Unfortunately, your son does not know the dictionary words to express these feelings. Instead of that, he said, I don't want to live in this home. I hate this environment. And if a person is not emotionally intelligent, he will hold these words. He is the one who said, I will leave the home. He will say, my son, I've just worked day and night, 3 shifts. I did not consider my health. I was doing, and look at him. He said in front of his mother and everybody that I hate you. But honestly speaking, that child has a problem with the dictionary. This is in extreme form is seen when someone abuses others. And abuse, gali jise kehte hain, is the most ugly word someone can utter. And everyone knows that kisi ko gali dena is very bad. And in an abuse, you actually involve the sacred relations of that a person, usually their female relations, and you commit that I'll do this heinous crime with one of your sacred relations in all those dirty, abuses. But honestly speaking, when someone is doing it, does he have a slightest idea of doing it? He has not seen his mother. He has not seen his sister. He has never done such thing in life. But then why he is doing this ugly activity? There is a problem with vocabulary. There is a problem with the words. Imagine someone is abusing you, gali de raha hai, and you just ask from him that, look, I know that kisi ko gali dena is very bad. So there must be something very serious going on in your head. Come on, sit with me. Let me make a cup of coffee for you. Please explain to me, after all, why you needed to abuse me. You imagine the situation. Someone is abusing you and in response you say this. Now a person whom you can kill actually will become your lifelong friend. Although the act is the same. He's abusing you. And Because of abuse, you can kill him. People do that. Ghairat ke naam par, they do that. But if you are emotionally intelligent, you will try to understand, after all, what compelled him to do that. And then the situation will be different. So my one thing, which I would like to just request you, from now onward, please try to practice it. Whenever a situation is tense, whenever a situation is such, which is disturbing you, don't hold the words. I will break your head. He is the person in front of everybody, he said, I'll break. I have no intention to break your head. I've never broke anybody's head. But there's something wrong with my vocabulary. In the childhood, I was not taught how to express myself. So I want to say something very pleasant to you, but I don't find the words. And this is why I'm saying I'll break your head. So this is message number 1. So are we on one page? Do you think that when next time we had any nasty situation, we will just sit back and we will not hold the words? And the second technique you can follow is, whenever there is an emotional situation, it is very logical that we feel it. Now you praised me. I said, call me Abdullah only. But honestly, I'm a human being. When you were saying he's an accomplished surgeon, he's a distinguished speaker. So in my heart, Shaitan was just, inflating my, heart and my mind that, see, I'm someone. So if you praise someone, he definitely will feel it. And if you do opposite to it, definitely someone, will feel it. And the second part of our response is, think about it. Just reverse it. When a situation is nasty, when situation is challenging, instead of feeling first, you think first and feel later. And with practice, we can do that, right? So I have just discussed with you 2 skills. Skill number 1, never hold the words. It will save you from miseries of life. Never hold the word. Just don't decide on the basis of what other one said, but decide on the basis of that understanding. You may recruit him to make you understand. If someone is very angry with you, you can actually take his help and ask him, you are angry with me? I want to understand. Please let me know why you are angry with me, right? So just try to understand. Number 1. And second skill was, think first, feel later. Obviously, we are human beings. We are not computers. That, if file is there, you say file not found. And if file there is, file will come. It is not like this. Human beings have got the feelings. That makes us human beings. But please reverse it. Feel later, think first. Skill number 2. Skill number 3 is, please spare 15 minutes after Fajr, 15 minutes after Isha. Maybe it will take some time for you to practice the first skill. Maybe it takes some more time to practice the second skill. But I would like, I don't मैं वो तबलीगी जमात की तरह मैं आपका इरादा वादा मैं नहीं कहता खड़े होके कि लिखे who is although it's a very good psychological technique for pursuing and motivating the people. So in your heart, I would like you to make one promise, that this third skill which I'm telling you, please start doing it from today. I can guarantee, I'm not guaranteeing it because of I read it in the book, because of my personal contextual experience. I can assure you with all responsibility, if you follow it, after 1 week, you will start seeing miracles in your life. Just 1 week, 7 days. After 7 days, I'm flying back to Pakistan. So on the next day, you will have that miracle. Once I'll leave Dallas, you will have the miracle. And I mean it honestly. You will see the environment in your home. You will see the environment at your workplace. And that is, spare 15 minutes in the morning. 15 minutes, you can extend it further. 15 minutes after Isha, alone, sit back, and technically that activity is called reflection. And just fast rewind it, your whole activity for the last 12 hours. I woke up, I did this, and then I had this problem with my wife or my husband. Oh, should I have said that? If I have not said that, situation would have different. Okay, take a copy pencil. Next time it happens, I will not do that. This is what is called reflection. And technically what I read in the book, psychology books, are that reflection has 3 levels. One is reflection on action. That the reflection which I've just told you, that after the incident has happened, you just try to reflect on it. Then one is reflection before action. That is, you're gonna do something, and before that you reflect that I'm gonna go in this tough situation. I'm going to have a meeting with my boss, and there can be something tough. So let me decide what I have to do. I'll not decide it right there. This is called reflection on before action. And the third one, I can narrate a hadith. The mafhum of it is, the understanding of it which I have. If someone becomes very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah says, I become his hands through which he holds the things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I become his legs, through legs he walks. In other words, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts guiding you. And this technically is called reflection during action. If we start practicing it, after 7 days, you will develop a skill of having reflexes, reflection. I'm just talking you, and suddenly someone will hold my hand, someone will hold my eyes, someone will hold my tongue, and I will control myself, right? So this is, and if you start practicing it, you will see that it is a kind of a self-correction. It's a kind of a self-hypnosis. It's a kind of a self-recovery. And you start suggesting yourself, and add the children, if you want to groom and you develop a good habit in a child, the method is that you create that experience as a contextual experience around a child. Then a child will learn it. But adults don't learn like this. Adults only learn when they realize they need to learn. And reflection is the only technique with which we can learn. So these are 3 take-home messages. First one was, whenever there's a tough situation, please don't hold the words. Try to understand it. Second one was, think first and feel later. And third one is, please start this activity of reflection. Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said once, and my understanding about it is, I don't remember the exact word is, if someone's today is not better than his yesterday, he is dead. Rahmatul lil Alameen has said, he is dead. How strict it is. Because if we are not changed, if Javed Iqbal on Sunday was of a situation and on Monday he is not better, that means he is still living in the past, and past is dead. This is why, so we need to grow continuously. That is what Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam has asked us to do. Continuously we need to grow. And we cannot grow unless and until we don't work on us. And I think these are 3 techniques which can help us in growing to someone who is more, beneficial for himself and beneficial for whole society. So I think it is 28 minutes, right? So, in this limited word, I can just squeeze it to that extent. Although the emotional intelligence workshop, when we do it and relate it with Usfa Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, it usually takes around 2 days workshop. And we have designed that workshop, and Brother Mujib was saying that maybe next time when I'll come, especially for our youth, we can design it more structured way, organizational leadership, and they are all in relation with Usfa Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Emotional intelligence, look, Nabi Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is sitting in the masjid, and masjid did not have carpet or marbles. It is the mud and the soil. And Badu came for first time. He became Muslim only a few hours before. He just came here, and suddenly he has a desire to pass urine. He just stood up, went in the corner of the mosque and started doing it. Now, Sahaba was very angry. But look at emotional intelligence of Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You know what he said? Your brother may not get some disease if you disturb him. So let him finish it. When he finished, he came. He did not realize what he has done. Then Nabi Sallallahu not even looked towards him. He said to another companion, can you go and put some soil on that urine of your brother? He didn't even look at him, so that he should not feel humiliated, so that he doesn't feel that I'm being judged. This is emotional intelligence, right? This is what emotional intelligence is. When Nabi Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Makkah was conquered, and he was just there, so his head was touching. He was just in a state of humility, and he was crying, and his head was touching the camel back. And all Sahaba was saying, why you're crying? This is the time to celebrate. And the Arab culture is that when you conquer something, you just kill people. And he's crying and saying astaghfar. He said, why you're crying? He said, should I not be very thankful? This is emotional intelligence. And if I start counting incidences from Seerah Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, endless incidences which will tell what's emotional intelligence. There are only 2 incidences, at least to my knowledge, which are read in Seerah, where Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was found angry. Otherwise, one of a permanent sunnat of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is smile. You remember? Smile is the permanent sunnat of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So if from now onward you decide that even at the face of a very tough circumstances, you will just decorate your face with a smile, you are actually acting upon one sunnah of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Just smile, facing everything, facing the troubles and miseries with smile, right? There are only 2 incidences. And both of them actually has taught us a tremendous lesson. I'll just tell you one of them. One of them was once he didn't like something, to that extent that he was leading Zuhr or Asr prayer where there are 4 rakat, and after 2 rakat, he said salam and sat on the other side. He forgot to have completed 4. And all of them knew that something is going on, which is and no one actually dared to talk to him. And suddenly they asked us, Abu Bakr, to please ask. He went there. The Nabi was just sitting here. He said, whether the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has changed, that means the salah has become 2 instead of 4. Nabi said, no. And then he said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what happened? The only words he uttered was, nothing. And then he completed the salah. So in the face of, anger, he actually did not express it. He managed it some way. And there are thousands further examples. So anyway, my dear brothers and sisters, this is, I just stop here. And I will just request you, inshallah we'll get a sawab, because after sitting here, we'll get a ajr of it, ajr of meeting with each other and discussing something which is going to influence us, our life, and will change our life, and following uswa of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But the real benefit will be if at least these 3 things, you make a decision to practice it, and it won't come suddenly. You have to repeatedly practice it, and inshallah it will show a very strong impact in our life. Jazakallah khair. Thank you for listening.